Well, well, it's St George's Day today. Not that you would know it on our censorious BBC. Um, they have other agendas. But here I am celebrating. The grass is a bit dewy, so luckily I brought my comforting flag to put some proper celebration into, the situation. I would like you people to look at Revelations 12:18. I'm wearing neon. There are several reasons for it. I was going to wear this on the march with John Wedger. That was cancelled. Um, it's a mark of, defiance really to everything that's been cancelled and banned. Everything that we can't buy and sell anymore has come to an end. So Revelations 18:6 and Revelations 12:18 and 18:6 is about Babylon, the fall of Babylon, which I was discussing, where everything is shut. Nobody buys and sells. Now these things are prophetic that are happening now. You won't believe me necessarily straight away if you haven't read and thoroughly digested what I have done over the years and been punished for on many occasions and silenced. When I first started researching this, I was looking into Gog and Magog, which I discovered were connected to the City of London long before Bush-Chirac conversation about the Gog-Magog war. These things are being played out by our elites. Right. It talks about the collapse of Babylon. Now this is so important. It represents a city. In her was found the blood of saints and all those who've been killed on the earth. Babylon the Great rides, nations, basically making them drunk and intoxicated. But this beast that she rides, which is us, has been robbed of its divinity. As I've explained, to do with how we're not celebrating St George today. St George is also very, very profound with the Book of Revelations 12:8. No, sorry, 8:16. 12:8 is Babylon. There are two females in the Book of Revelations. So this female was clothed in the sun, had the fertility moon at her feet, and a crown of 12 stars around her head that were knocked to the earth by the dragon. So symbolically, I thought I'd discuss the dragon today. It's St George's Day. Now, it's a very, very symbolic reference here in the Book of Revelations because it talks about the war against the seed, the remnant. And we can see that we are being stood in front of, as the dragon did, because after failing to take the woman clothed in the sun, he went after the rest of the seed. Denaturing, transing, all of this in favour of the worship of this strange, perverse, ugly Babylon, feminist, trans, whatever you might say is just strangely grotesque, was this, thing that was seen, that was Babylon. Saying I sit as queen, I will never know mourning, making all nations mad on her luxury, committing adultery basically with all the nations, not being true to her own, prostituting her own, which is what we've seen with the prostituting of the children in Britain and throughout the nations really is horrific. They have no respect for our internal, our inherent culture and the preservation of it, the ability to pass it on intact to the next generation. So they've worked on youth culture, which is really the thing that can be universally seen as attractive, as vibrant. No longer do we have, film stars like we did in the 40s, where women and men were, of a select type, of any in different ages even, because that would be too discriminatory. And not what they wish to promote. They can promote young meat, youth culture, get rid of the old, that nobody will remember the past ways. And you're not really of much reproductive value other than meat. And as the paedophile agenda is to do with around the age of 12, this androgynousness is crept into all the sort of youth culture now, where male, female, it doesn't make any difference because it's not, your image isn't meant to be there to select a mate. It's a kink, it's a perversion. It's just a thing that you can play with, an image, a shell. So I'm saying this is not a shell, this is what I'm representing today. British heritage, English heritage, sitting under a tree listening to the beautiful birds, trying to point people into the direction, even though I sometimes get my biblical numbers mixed up. Revelations 8:16, the woman clothed in the sun. People have said this is Mary, this is a church. No, I totally disbelieve this. This is to do with the 12 stars of the European Union and the the eugenics at work now to make us all globalised and attack the seed of Christianity, the anti-Christ agenda, which they're going to mess around with, say, put the the attention on anti-Semitism, anti-Islamophobia, which is what the last election was really all about. Well, we know that, Christians know, or should know, that this time is anti-Christian. We can see it, we can feel it, even if the church and the media are not telling us the truth. So this is the woman in the wilderness, persecuted by the dragon. They don't want people to know about. But I want the remnant seed to know that some of us know the truth, and I want the people who do to gather up as much intelligence on it as they can and defy the lies and defy the censorship and defy the persecution. I've had real persecution that made me come to these conclusions. I felt like my seed was attacked, my progeny, by the city mechanisms, by the city elites, by the media not willing to hear my story, by the wealthy trying to, who were involved in abuse, my abuse, and the systems, the common purpose systems that have sought to ever since cover it up. Mental health, police, corrupt courts, all run for a common purpose, and it says in the Bible they have one common purpose: to give the power and authority to the beast. Those who had not received a kingdom before, previously outcast, will attack the previous in crowd, the previously people who had power. So we can see the dynamic is switching. In the Quran it says the end times the slave will be master. We can also look at the book of Daniel for insight. It talks about the changing of customs and times and festivals, which we can clearly see. Come out of her, it talks of Babylon, lest you share her plagues. Pay her back double, which is like the empire striking back, which, as I've said, which is the reversal, those who had not received a kingdom before, the decolonisation of history, of education, to blame everything on white people. And we're pushed into this position now of, are we with Islam or are we with Judaism? Well, I'm not with either of those. I recognise the time that we're in. I'm not anti any of them, but I'm not with them. I'm with the true persecution and the true Christ and the true message. And I have seen real persecution that's going on, not this imaginary stuff. I've seen the abuse of children, I've seen it covered up, I've seen the persecution of truth, and I've seen the deliberate denaturing of my people and my society. And no, I don't accept it, and I don't accept the propaganda. I hope you all look in the right places. I've given a few hints. I'm not a newsreader, although I've been lucky enough to be on the alternative media quite a few times. Just hear my words and please share my message, pass it on. Thank you.